welcome to Open Hand Farm. I'm Penny, this is Mark, and we are on a quest today. So we need some chicken to put in our freezer.
It's a quest for chicken.
It is. The problem is that it seems like all of the chicken that we buy is not good. It's either full of water or something. I don't know what it is. I do know that meat products are pumped with water to make them full and whatever.
Way more.
And way more, so that you have to pay more. But I feel like every time I cook chicken, and that's any grocery store that I have bought it from, including Costco, which I really like Costco, but even their chicken that is the fresh packed chicken that is no hormones and all of that good stuff, it seems like rubber to me. It has no flavor and feels like rubber. So I only use it if I put it in something that has more flavor in it, like a soup or I use a rub on it or something like that. But I have been so disappointed. So Mark had this idea. You want to share your idea?
It's a quest for chicken.
Okay, so what does a quest for chicken look like?
Okay. We're going to go, because we live in town, we're in Kansas City area, and we do have the benefit of having a number of good meat providers around us. And so we're going to go to several of these stores that are highly rated and just buy some chicken here and some chicken there and see if we can't find an excellent source of chicken.
And we did think about going further away from home and buying some chicken and buying a lot of it or whatever, but I like the idea of going and buying chicken at a place that we can duplicate getting chicken. So
ideally, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
But ideally, it'll be someplace that buys their chicken from a
local
good farm.
Farmers.
Yeah. And
yeah.
I know at least one of the places we're going, that's what they do. And
yeah.
We could conceivably raise meat chickens, but we don't.
So if we did meat chickens, we couldn't have egg layers unless we just did a few of each. So it really isn't something that we can put our efforts towards. So we want to find the perfect chicken at a place that we could go again and get it whenever we want it and not have to go on a quest every time we want chicken.
Oh, but quests are fun.
I know. So when we get to our first store, we'll show you where we are.
And we're somewhere now, but it's not a meat store. So.
No, he's just going to run in. We'll be back. So we're at a little meat market in Raytown, Missouri, and we're going to check out their chicken. So here's some chicken at the first place, and we got us a whole chicken. He's packaging it up for us, and we're just going to buy a whole bird at all of the shops and compare them. That way we can compare all the parts and pieces.
Merry Christmas, Chris.
All right, good to see you. Hope you have a good one.
Thank you.
It all looks so good. So this is a whole fryer, and it is 2.51 pounds, so it's $2.99 a pound at $7.50. Okay, we went in the store here in Raytown.
Also called Pollard's Meat Market.
There you go. And they were very helpful. I was just up front and I said, we're looking for good chicken. And he said, that's understandable. And so we got a fryer there. They were extremely friendly, and you can kind of overhear talking in one of my videos where one of the regulars is saying have a Merry Christmas and whatever. Somebody else came in and was saying, oh, I just want whatever this, and he goes, do you want to pick it? No, you just go ahead, you're good at it, whatever. It's like your little hometown store, and I like that. I like that a lot. I also asked them if they had beef fat so that I could make more tallow, and he said they usually do, but they're out right now. So now we're on to our next location. Okay, we've now come to Kansas City, Kansas, to Bicklemeyer Meats, and we're gonna see what they have. Okay, we've got a definite meat shop here. We've got some good stuff. Wow. Those are some ribs now. I don't even have a plate that big. Yes, here's my chickens. So let's evaluate the actual store. It was more of a butcher shop. Like you walk in and they are working on cutting meat and stuff over to the left. And then I turned to the right and you could see the whole cuts of meat that were available for sale. It was beautiful meat. They have a lot more people working here. It's a much busier. It is like a happening place. I know Mark had tried calling earlier in the week, and it was obvious that they were trying to work and didn't want to answer questions, but I'm not saying that they were rude. It is a very busy time of year. They seem perfectly fine in the store, no problems, and getting people through and handled very quickly. The chicken was a little bit more expensive, and it's also bigger, so we'll have to figure out weight and price of all the birds when we get them home. But I think their meat was beautiful, though. I kind of wished we had had more time to think about, is there something else we want? But not having been to all the other stores, I don't know price-wise if that's where I would want to buy some other meats. So we'll do our chickens first and we'll go from there. All right, on to the next store. Now we are coming to the historic Kansas City Market, where we have all kinds of restaurants and stores. So we're going to hit one of our favorite places and probably eat lunch here. We're going to the Local Pig, and we know that they ordered their chickens from local farmers. So we have Local Pig, which is the store around the corner, but we have Local Pig sandwich shop called Pigwich. And that's where we're going to eat our lunch. That looks delicious. We went to the Local Pig.
More importantly, we went to lunch.
More importantly, we had lunch. Yes, it was amazing. They have a little sandwich shop next, like behind them, and it's called Pigwich. And when we first met them, they were like a food truck, Pigwich, that my daughter used to eat lunch at all the time, so she told us about them. And then they had the meat store, Local Pig. Now they're in the same building and equally yummy. We decided to order 2 different sandwiches and split them. So Mark got the
Philly cheesesteak.
The Philly cheesesteak. And I got one called a Cuban, and it had pulled pork as well as a pork brisket on top of it. They were both so good. I'm glad we split them so we could experience both of them together. And their fries are amazing. They're so crunchy. but everything is like organic, wonderful food. Now, we went into the meat market portion of the store. They had a lot of variety. Now, I will say though that they were pricier. The chicken itself, how much was a chicken?
$19.99 for the whole chicken.
Okay, they sell it by the whole chicken instead of by the pound, but they get their chickens from a local farm, and I'm gonna look it up in a minute when I get home.
Lindo.
Say it again.
Campo Lindo.
Campo Lindo
I think
farm.
that means like beautiful country.
Oh, but I'm gonna actually look them up online and add that information. We have one more place we're gonna go, and it is a store, like a supermarket store that is a lot of Hispanic items in it, but you can get things like a pig head and a whole baby pig and stuff like that. So we decided to go ahead and get one of their chickens as well, because they have a meat market, some really interesting things. I'll show you when we get there. But we're gonna try them. And then after the quest is over, we'll decide how to do the comparison part of all of this. Okay. Our final stop is
Mercado Fresco.
Mercado Fresco. Okay. These flavored meats. And then parts and whole chickens, including the feet. Okay, we got a hen at our last destination.
Not a chicken. Hen.
I kept saying a chicken and she was saying hen, which I know the word hen, but it wasn't clicking to me what she was meaning. So she showed me on the paper where it was printed out. I'm like, oh yeah, that's good. That's what we want. So we got us a hen. It even has its feet on it. And it is frozen though. And I couldn't ask where they come from because most of the people at the meat counter speak Spanish and I do not. Well, I was doing good to understand hen apparently. So we have been to this store several times to buy veggies and stuff. I wanted to show you their produce sections because it's like so much. They have sugar cane, they have peanuts, they have every fruit and vegetable you could imagine. But there were so many people getting ready for Christmas that I didn't want to do that. Maybe another day. So we have our 4 chicken samples from our chicken quest that we've been on today. I'm sorry the phone is so jumpy. We're hitting some good bumps here. That's the story of our city that we live in. So we will take them home and we'll pick up from there. Okay, it is time to compare chickens. We had to wait until the next day because the last chicken we bought was frozen. So now I'm going to lay them out. I'm going to sort them in order of which chicken cost the most and label where we got it. And we'll look at them as I unpackage them. As I put them up here, I'm also going to weigh them so that we will have a weight to go along with the price. So our first one here is the local pig, and that was $19.99 for the whole chicken. And that wasn't like per weight. That's just how they sell them. $19.99 per chicken. Get our chicken out. Okay, we're gonna weigh it first, and I'm just gonna kind of leave it in its bag because that won't weigh that much. Okay, so that is 4 pounds, 8 ounces. Okay, that's a nice chicken. The wings are very meaty. The legs are meaty. It's a nice looking chicken. Yes, 0. Okay, this one is 3 pounds, 1 ounce. And I have to tell you, it looks smaller than that. I really was expecting less weight. Now let's look at it. I know some of you might laugh, but I'm happy that we have chicken feet on this one. That is a nice looking bird, but it is much smaller. There's much less meat on the legs. The wings are hardly any meat at all. The breasts are very small, but you will note and remember that when we bought this, she said it's a hen, not a chicken. So this, we believe, was an egg layer. So this is probably an older bird that stopped laying. That means it will probably be a little more tough when it's cooked. So we'll have to pay attention to how we do that. But you can see quite a difference in these two birds. Okay, the next one is the Bickelmeyer meats. Now that was the one in Kansas City, Kansas, that was like a butcher shop more than a meat market. They only had meat and cheese, but they also did their butchering right there. So we're gonna get into this one. Now that one's kind of small too. Surprising. That one is 2 pounds, 8 ounces. So it's even less weight than this one. So 2 pounds, 8 ounces. Let's get it out of its bag and take a look at it. Okay, let's see. Got a couple feathers still on there. This is, again, a smaller bird, but it's very meaty. So even though it's smaller, it's got good meat on it, unlike the hen. So it's pretty tiny. I can just hold it right in my hands, especially compared to this one. It's quite different. Let's lay him right there. And we have our last one. Now, this is the one that we got from the meat market that is the closest to us, and it is called a fryer. These were not called fryers, they were just chickens. So, let's see what it weighs. Wow! It weighs 4 pounds, 3 ounces. That surprises me. Okay, so we have 4 pounds, 3 ounces. All right. Now, I am really surprised because it is only 4 ounces lighter than this one from the local pig. In comparison, they look about the same, except for the coloring and the fat on the outside. Now, do you see all of this right here? I did not ask the question while I was at Pollard's, which is where I got this one. So I called them today and I asked them, I said, where do your chickens come from? And they said that they are free range and corn fed in Georgia. So we're in Missouri and these chickens come from Georgia. This one comes from Missouri, not too far from us. And I looked online at the farm that they are raised at, and they have a huge pasture that the chickens are able to go around. It's a beautiful place. So this one has definitely been pasture raised. This one I don't know that it was in a pasture. So this is what we're learning. Not all chickens are alike. They might go by a different name. They have different weights. They're raised differently. And their prices are definitely different as well. Okay, I'm going to show you all of the information on the birds. So there's the local pig. We spent $19.99. It's 4 pounds, 8 ounces, and that comes up to $4.44 a pound. Our hen at El Mercado Fresco was $14.99, and it was 3 pounds, 1 ounce, which we're just saying 3 pounds because the feet would be an ounce. And it comes up to, get it where you can see it here, $5 a pound. Then we have the Bickelmeyer, and it was $14.55 at 2 pounds, 8 ounces. So that is $5.82 a pound. And then we have the Pollard's Meat Market, and it was $7.50 at 4 pounds, 3 ounces. So that comes up to $1.76 a pound. All right, Mark, if you were to go back and buy another chicken, knowing the information you know right here in front of you, not having tasted it, which chicken would you be willing to buy again?
Okay, I would throw out the El Mercado Fresco. I'm very disappointed in that. The other three all look pretty good. I mean, they were clearly raised for meat. The Bickelmeyer is just kind of pricey and kind of small, which I figure you're going to get more bone as a percentage of the weight. So that would leave these two on the ends. The local pig down here, which came in at $4.44 a pound, and the Pollards, which came in at, what was it? $1.76 a pound. Now, I kind of feel like I saw a higher price there. I'm wondering if they maybe undercharged us a little bit, but my recollection was it was in the $2 something range, and I may be wrong, but even that would still have this being obviously the best value for the Pollards. I gotta say, the local pig one is beautiful. It's a gorgeous looking chicken, very nicely prepared. You know, you're paying a little bit for their processing of it, and you know, I'd say if I were trying to go more economically, I would go with the Pollards. If I were trying to go for absolutely the best presentation and all, then the local pig would be my winner. Both of these birds that I'm preferring can be described as free range, but that doesn't necessarily mean what you think it means. The local pig, we know, is raised on pasture. They're going to be getting bugs. They're going to be getting grass and stuff like that, which is very desirable. Also, this guy came from about 40 miles away. I mean, close to Kansas City. This one came from about 850 to 900 miles away in Georgia. So, does that make it bad? Not necessarily. It's just the things to consider, and I think that the real answer is going to be in what the meat texture is like, what the taste is like. We'll see.
Okay, my real puzzle through this whole chicken quest has been, how are we going to know which chicken tastes the best? How are we going to cook them? So here's the deal. I don't need to have 4 cooked chickens in my life right now. So I don't want to cook the whole chickens. I also want to make sure that we try the dark meat as well as the white meat. I'm a dark meat person, Mark's a white meat person. So I think in order to do this, I am going to remove legs and wings. I'm going to bake them, and I like to, after they're baked, put them on the grill and just kind of grill them up a little bit. That way we can still taste the flavor of the meat. I'm not going to put a sauce or rub or seasonings on them. I'm just going to bake them. And then I think I will only put half of them on the grill. So we could taste them right out of being baked with salt and pepper, and what they would taste like if I put them on the grill. So I want you to know that I have really hot soapy water here, and I am cleaning my sink before I put my chicken in it. Rinsing with really hot water. Okay, I'm going to cut the skin of this, and I'm going to find the joint and just pop it out, and then I can go in and cut the ligaments that are just holding that in place. Okay, I should be able to just come in around that and cut it off. So there's one leg. Now, I am going to put these in order on my pan. I made a chart of how I'm going to place them in my pan. I have the two bigger ones kind of across from each other since I didn't want them to be scrunched in there together. So Local Pig, Bickelmeyer, Pollard's, and Mercado. So I'll lay that over here by my pan so that I can remember that. Okay, we got another leg to get off here. I am a leg eating person. Mark is not. So I will miss not having legs on these chickens when we cook them. Get all the skin. I know you're thinking, why is she using that huge knife? Because it is so sharp. I love it. Break our bone out here. And then we'll come up above the bone and cut the ligaments. So there's our second leg. I'm leaving the skin on because I want to know how the skins do as well. All right, now we're going to get these wings off, and I'm going to cut some of this breast to go along with it so that we can get more of the white meat to see what we think. Cut the tendon. So we've got some white meat here, and we're gonna cross it over itself and put it on our pan. Okay, I've labeled all of the bags with the name where we got the chicken, and I'm going to weigh it. Okay, it is now 3 pounds, so I'll put that on there. That way, if I have something that I'm making and it says you need this much chicken, then I know how much chicken I have. Okay, I'm gonna wash the sink out again. We need our legs. So I'm gonna go ahead and just continue cutting all of these chickens, and I'll come back when I have them all cut up. Okay, I got them all cut up. And I tried to include some breast meat on the wings so that Mark can taste more of the white meat. You'll see I've got lots of breast meat on these two, and that is because that is the one from Local Pig, and it was huge. I'm gonna put them in the oven at 400 degrees for 20 to 25 minutes. And then I'm going to make sure they have an internal temperature of 165. Let's just take a look at what the meat looks like cooked and see if we can tell whose is whose. So this one is very small. So we know that that one is the Mercado Fresco. This one has that yellow tint to it. So that one is from Pollard's. This one is smaller than this one, but looks good, and it is from Bickelmeyer. Then we have the Local Pig that is nice and plump and big and beautiful. I decided we were only going to cook on the grill part of these. So I'm gonna put them in another pan, but I will leave them in the same order so that we remember whose is whose. This one is really, really juicy. I wonder if it has water in it. That's another thing that I was curious about, is if any of these had water in them. Okay. And I will just keep this pan in the oven to keep them warm while I go out and grill these. Okay, welcome to our chicken tasting party. I don't like to eat on camera, but we're gonna have to kind of do some anyway to let you know what we think about this chicken. So let me show you the chicken before we start eating it. All right, so you're looking at the pan upside down. This was the Bickelmeyer. This was the hen with the feet on it. This one is from the store. I put the grilled on here with the baked, so we have both of them on here, but this is the one from Local Pig. So now we're going to try them one at a time and tell you what we think about the meat. Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, which one should we start with?
I'm saying let's start with that
With
one.
the hen? Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to start with the hen. This was the hen with the feet on it. Actually, I'm going to give you both the wings. One is baked, one is grilled. And I'll take both the legs. We have forks and knives. I'm not a real big fork and knife person when it comes to chicken, but it's just more polite with you guys watching us. So
yes.
This is the tough old bird. Oh, sorry. Did you hear that? You guys, I can hardly cut this meat. It's really, really tough. And wasn't this one of the most expensive ones? Oh my gosh.
I'm not sure.
You guys.
Well, this was a mistake.
Yeah. This is not. Okay. So I will tell you that it's not that you can't eat layer chickens when they have completed their egg cycle and you don't want to just get rid of them. We have a video where we skinned. Is it hard?
Okay, I remember. Go ahead.
We have a video where we skinned and cut the meat off of our daughter's old hens, and we put that meat in the freezer. I was watching a video recently where a couple had just processed all of their layers, and what they did is immediately after processing them, they canned them on the bone, no worries. And I was like, I wonder if I could do that with the meat we still have in the freezer. So I did. And that meat now, I haven't opened it yet, but it looks so tender. It actually is kind of falling off the bone in the jar. So if you have old hens, maybe consider canning them because they are in a pressure canner at 11 pounds for an hour and a half. So that's a lot of cooking. And it seemed to do the trick. I might get it out right now before it gets totally frozen and cut the meat off of it, cut the breast off, and cut the thighs apart and just can it because this isn't it. And I don't want to waste the money that we spent on it because it was one of the most, if not the most expensive bird.
It was a poor choice.
Yeah, it was.
And it's a grocery store that usually prices are pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. Which one Which one should we do next? Yeah, the Bickelmeyer was the smaller one. That's the one that was in Kansas City, Kansas. And it was a pretty chicken. Okay, the fork goes in. Oh, much more.
I can actually pull it apart.
Much more tender. All right, I'm taking a bite of the baked one first.
That is a good chicken.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not eating rubber here. This has a texture to it that is a chicken texture. It's so tender. So 25 minutes at 400. So good. And now I'll taste the one that I put on the grill just to give it a little extra flavoring on the outside. That is a really good chicken. So how is the white meat? And
it's very good.
okay, it's not dry. Okay, because that's why I don't like white meat. I feel like it's always dry. I guess I'm gonna have to sit here and wait. It must be real good because he just keeps going.
I don't want to waste it.
Pollard's is the one that is closest to us and the way least expensive. But it's also the one where the chicken comes from Georgia. You're awfully quiet over there.
I want to really like this one because they're local.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's fine. I don't feel like the taste is there.
The taste is not there. And it is a tad bit on the rubbery side. These are. Here, try this. You feel it now in that one? Okay, so I don't know if you remember when I was...
It's not bad.
No, it's not like at the store. It's better than what I'd gotten at the store. Now, when I lifted the chicken off of the pan, I said, oh, that one had a lot of liquid in it. And then I thought, maybe not. Maybe it just, I don't know. So I didn't think about it. When I was taking them off of the grill, I kind of pushed them as I picked them up, and all the other chicken picked it up, put on the plate. But when I picked up this one, it flamed up because so much liquid came out of it. That tells me that it's probably got some water pumped into it. Okay. But like he said, it's better than what we buy at the store. And it is kind of sad because, again, it's like 10 minutes, 15 minutes from here. Yeah. And all these others were so much further away. Okay, now to the local pig. And it's got a lot of breast meat on it. It's very tender and juicy like it should be, not overly juicy. Now we're both quiet.
I want to find something to complain about. To me, that is just almost the perfect chicken.
It is so good. The skin is not too thick, yet it's nice to have some skin for some extra flavor.
I mean, to my mind, this one is clearly the best all around. The other two, the first one was...
Yeah, the hen we're not even going to consider anymore. Yeah. So when we talk about the others, we're not even talking about the hen.
But the other two were fine. They weren't...
Well, the first one, the Bickelmeyer, it was a good chicken, and that's what we said. It's a good chicken. You said that's really good.
That's right, I did.
But then we taste this one, and the texture and everything is just like everything about it is really good. It came out to $5.55, I think it was, a pound.
And a nice thing is we are supporting a relatively local farmer.
Yes.
And, it's hard to raise chickens at a scale that's not what Tyson does.
Yes. They do carry their birds at a lot of different grocery stores in the area.
Not around where we live, because we live on the poor side of town.
Yeah, but where Mark works.
Yeah.
So if we could find them at a grocery store, maybe the price would be even better because it's not a privately owned small butcher shop, but it would be the same chicken. They also provide to a lot of restaurants in the Kansas City area. had a whole long list of them. And they provide eggs to a lot of the stores and restaurants as well. So we definitely learned today that not all chickens are the same, especially if you buy a hen. And we do have hens that will need to be processed very soon. They don't lay anymore, and we're just kind of buying time until the holidays are over, and then we're going to process them. And I will can them. It just seemed like the perfect thing. I will can this hen so that we don't have to waste it, because it did cost a fair penny. Thank you so much.
Can't talk.
Mark's like, I can't. Yeah, bye. See ya. So he's like, this is just too good. And honestly, we haven't eaten a lot of chicken, and we love chicken, but I will buy it, and sometimes I will cook some of it and we end up not finishing it, and we just throw it away. It was such a waste. So that's why we were on a quest for the perfect chicken. And I think we found it.
But I was saying a minute ago, it makes me feel like we ought to raise some meat birds.
Yeah.
And so maybe we'll do that this year or next year.
So in our neighborhood, we can only have a certain number of birds. If we get the birds that we have processed and put them in our freezer, then we could go ahead and buy that number. What is the number that we can have?
We're allowed to have 20.
Okay, we could get 20 chickens that are meat birds and raise them, send them off to get processed, and then buy 20 egg layers. So that is very doable.
What we'll probably do.
Yeah, we'll probably go ahead and do that. So that way we'll have 20 of our own birds that we know how they were fed, we know where they were fed and how they were treated, and we don't have to wonder. Thanks again for coming along and following through this very long, arduous quest. And we hope that we have provided some information that will help you if you are looking for a better bird as well. Now, obviously, if you're not in our area, you won't be able to use these butcher shops, but
If you are in a city, anything from maybe, 100,000 on up or near one, pretty much everybody is, there is probably something similar to Local Pig, the local butcher shop.
you might have some farmers in your area that are raising meat birds as well, if you don't live near a city. Now, we have some friends that we talked about earlier. I contacted them, and they do not have meat birds right now, but they will be getting some in the spring. So if for some reason we don't end up getting birds in the spring, we can depend on buying some from them. So look around, see what you find in your area. And yes, unfortunately, it's going to be more expensive than what you buy at the grocery store. But I'd rather pay more money and be able to really enjoy eating it.
Yeah.
So we'll see you again on our next video. And until then, blessings on you and yours.